If you're a field service engineer that travels to Boston often, you might like this video. In this video, I'll talk about a few things about my experience in Boston, where I like to eat, where I like to stay, and just some general tips about being in Boston, working in Boston, and just trying to enjoy the city. Welcome back to Untitled Label, where we strive for greatness through optimization. I'm John, I'm a field service engineer and an entrepreneur, and on this channel, we talk about all things relating to being a field service engineer. By no means am I a native Bostonian, but whenever I do visit new cities, I do like to go out and about, see what the locals like to do, and just take in the city, time permitting, of course. The main concern when you're on a work trip is making sure that your work is done. When you're not working, you do have a little bit of leisure time to enjoy the city. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Being in the biotech industry, there's a lot going on in Boston. Oftentimes, a lot of these clients, a lot of these companies use the equipment that I work on. So naturally, I'm going to fly in and work on some of their equipment if the area needs a little bit of help. Now, oftentimes I'll fly into Boston Logan Airport. When you fly in, it's usually not too bad. It's a pretty big airport. And for those that don't know, you will have to take a shuttle to get to the rental car company. So if you're someone that needs to get a rental car, keep this in mind as you're going to go downstairs, get your luggage, go outside, and there's going to be two buses. One's gonna be a blue line, and I believe one's gonna be a black line. Don't quote me on that. However, I know for a certain fact that the blue line is definitely going to take you to the rental car companies. When you take the bus, you're going to get to the rental car company. If you are someone that has a little bit of status, whereas you don't have to wait in line, this is going to be extremely convenient because I've noticed that no matter who you're renting with, there's going to be a line whenever you fly into Boston Logan. All right, so you flew in, you got your rental car. Where are you going to stay? For me personally, I like to stay in Watertown. This is because it's pretty centrally located. Hotel costs aren't going to be too crazy, although in Boston in general, hotels are going to be a little bit more on the expensive side. But being in Watertown, I stay at the Residence Inn. This is because, again, it's centrally located. There is a Target really close by. There is a city hall area with a lot of restaurants, a lot of shopping close by that's actually within walking distance. So for me, I like that area. Depending on what you're going to be doing there and where your customers may be, this might not be the best location for you. Usually whenever I travel up here, I'm there for a week, and for me, it's actually the best location because from there, most of my clients are within 30 minutes or so from this location, unless I have to drive a little bit further, but that usually doesn't happen too often. Driving in Boston is a whole other experience to begin with. If you're not too familiar with driving in a big city, you might be a little anxious. You might have a little bit of anxiety driving around here. This is because there's a lot of pedestrians. There's a lot going on driving wise and just life wise. People are very active in the city. You have people running, you have people jogging. It's a very active city. People like to be out and about from what I've noticed, especially when the weather is good. When it comes to food and eating, I was fortunate enough to have some help from my colleague as well as friend, Octavio. Every time I'm up there, I try to hang out with him and we try to grab some lunch or dinner and just, talk a little bit about what's going on in Boston. In no particular order, these are some of the places that we visited. If you've been to one of these places, let me know below what your favorite place is and what you like to order from there. So the first place is going to be Semolina Kitchen and Bar. This place has really good spaghetti, not even necessarily spaghetti, just pasta in general. The food there is really good. Price-wise, I think it's pretty affordable. And in honesty, it's pretty worth it if you ask me. Next place is going to be Snappy Patties. We've been there once before and I definitely enjoyed it. The burgers there are a really nice size and they're sure to fill you up. So you can't go wrong with Snappy Patties. I will say on a side note, this was the first place where I really noticed the Boston accent. I was there, I had a waitress that was serving us food and she was talking to us and her accent just stood out to me. So being up there in the Northeast, you really will notice some of the Bostonian accents up there. The Beehive in South End of Boston is also a pretty cool place. They have good music, good drinks, and overall a good atmosphere to check out as well. If you are staying in Watertown, I do have a recommendation that's actually pretty good. It's my little guilty pleasure. This is called What the Chick. I've had that place so many times and the chicken there is absolutely delicious. So those are a few good food options for you if you're ever in Boston staying in the same similar area. Now, the next thing I'll talk about are some activities that you can go out and about and do. For me personally, I like to see things, I like to experience things, especially when it comes to art, history, and just culture in general. The first time I was up there, I had the opportunity to actually do a city cruise. I think this was pretty cool as I've never been in the Boston Harbor. It was a little bit of history, to be honest with you. We also had the opportunity to go to the Science Museum and the Art Museum. If you're really big on history, you're gonna absolutely love Boston because there's so much history there. Even walking around in the downtown Boston Garden is pretty cool as well. Just being out and about, like I said, it's just refreshing to be able to do that down there in Boston. And if you're ever in the downtown area, walking through the public garden is actually pretty cool as well. I like to be outdoors, I like to walk around, especially whenever I'm taking photos. Which, by the way, if you're on Instagram, make sure to follow me there as Batman. I'm looking forward to the next visit and just exploring Boston and seeing more of the city. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and share this with someone else that might enjoy it. With that said, I'll catch you on the next one.